Good evening to you. Today I want to discuss this topic. Why do families that were once prominent and prosperous run into trouble and they run down? Their houses go waste and their next generations don't do so well. What are the reasons behind this? So I want to present 7 reasons for this and 7 remedies or 7 protective measures that one can adopt because these families were very powerful in the nation once. So in a sense, even the nation runs down with what happens to those families. As a prelude to this, I want to bring to your notice a 7-year-old boy who had no chance to do well because his father and mother were not very impressed by him, how much the Good Shepherd cared for him. His name was David, and he was born to a famous father. The father was the patriarch of the largest city of that nation, Israel, at that time. His name was Jesse, and he already had 7 sons from his first wife, and they were all doing very well in the king's court. So when this young fellow was born, and the father being about 80 years old, he was embarrassed that at his old age, and to add to that, this boy was born to a war widow. So you can understand the context. That was the largest city in the country, Bethlehem, and Jesse was the main patriarch of the city of Bethlehem, well-known gentleman. So he downplayed this boy's birth. But God saw this boy and picked him up. And David later said, though my father and mother forgot me, forsook me, God accepted me. Virtually, when a boy or girl goes through that experience and at childbirth, God plays midwife and brings him up from this put down he was facing from his own parents. So if parents get into conflict, level 1, the children's reaction is one of stress, depression and anxiety. Level 2, they begin to make a value judgment who's wrong, and their loyalty gets divided. In their mind they support one and other one is wrong, and it's a very difficult game they go through. Third level is that they feel betrayed and they hate themselves because they feel they might be the cause of the problem. Such words may be thrown around, so it's a very grievous situation. 1 Samuel, here is the story how God picked up. So the Good Shepherd told Samuel to go and pick the next king. In those days they pour oil on the next king. Then when the first 7 brothers came, the Lord has not chosen this, because Samuel was very impressed by their appearance, but God kept saying, God sees not as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. God kept saying that to Samuel the prophet, I have not chosen them. Lord has not chosen this one. So finally Samuel said, is there any other children? Then Jesse said, there remains yet the youngest. He is looking after the sheep. Samuel said to Jesse, send and bring him, for we will not sit down until he comes here. So he sent and brought him in. He was ruddy, with beautiful eyes and a handsome appearance. So obviously this boy who was not much wanted by his father or mother, God gave him beauty so that anyone sees him would like him. That's how God played catch up when parents thought he was a bit of an embarrassment. So he went and brought him. Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him. And he was only 17 years old. And for the next 13 years, he would be sent through the training that God only can to make him the king of that nation. But before he was 17, somehow God had managed his life. He learned 2 skills. One, music, making his own harp, 8-chord harp, and making lyrics and singing. So music and singing makes brain brilliant. I did a seminar on this, the digital effects and how to prevent the digital effects. send me a WhatsApp number. I'm Dr. Lalith. Send me a WhatsApp number to my WhatsApp number. Don't phone it. Don't give calls, but send a WhatsApp number 074. I'll repeat 074 211 5011. Ask him for the clips you need. So this boy, from virtual being nowhere, he was brought up right to the forefront. So when parents default or can't, there is a God in heaven, a good shepherd, who catches up for such children. But our theme today is going to now turn to what are the things that come against families to run them down so suddenly when once they were doing so well. So here are 7 things that can come against any family that they suddenly go down. First one is called the snare of a bird trapper. So they were doing very well, but some trap, addiction, alcoholism, gambling, whatever that trap was, or marital infidelity, trapped the man, trapped the person, and the family began to run down. The second one is a deadly pestilence, a dangerous disease, and there are dangerous diseases that are waiting to trigger when we are passing 40. They are in the genes: diabetes mellitus, glaucoma, hypertension, and the first heart attack, myocardial infarct, is fatal in 40% of people. So these things happen suddenly, and the family runs down. Then the terror by night. That's an abnormal phenomenon, supranormal phenomenon, terror by night. We had a family coming to us from a very prominent part of Colombo City, Colombo 7 in fact, and the complaint was an apparition, a white-clad lady is seen at about 6 p.m. It's a big old house of a very rich person, and the children get scratched, and they showed me the scratch marks. But after prayer, they were greatly helped. So this is terror by night. Then there's a thing called the arrow that flies by day. So it's arrow that comes from far, but it is aimed at you. It may be sorcery, it may be a conspiracy. You are doing so well, but a conspiracy was laid against you. What is our subject? Why do families run down? And what is the antidote? So that is the third one. Fourth one, pestilence that, the fifth one, the pestilence that stalks in darkness. That is a disease that medicine can't understand. We had a business family coming. The husband had 3 vehicles, a Benz, a Peugeot and a Volkswagen. His Benz and the Peugeot met with accidents, and his wife began to manifest an abnormal disease where she would faint off, because she says she sees a blue bottle and then she faints off, then she behaves peculiarly, throws things around. When taken to hospital, her hemoglobin was very low, and she was diagnosed of a hemolytic anemia, that the red blood cells break up faster than normal. And there was no cause to be identified. Then they came to us because of the string of abnormal phenomena, and the history said how the husband's partner said, in order to prosper the business, let's go and do a certain puja, and this gentleman was made to sit on a rock plate with flowing water around, and it was supposed to be for his benefit, but actually it was to do him down. And from that day, this dark thing that came on them brought endless trouble. But the Good Shepherd did the needful, and they came out of that. Then the sixth one is destruction that lays waste at noon. When you are bright and prosperous, and no cloud on your horizon, but then suddenly something happens and destruction hits you from nowhere, and your family runs down. Seventh one is 1,000 may fall at your side, a natural disaster kind of thing that wipes out your property or whatever it is. So these things happen to people. But here is the safeguard. The safeguard is promised for us. Because he has loved me, I will deliver him. From all these troubles, there is a promise of deliverance. True, the Good Shepherd will deliver. I will set him securely on high. You will be promoted. 3. Because you call on the Good Shepherd to help you, you will have answers for problems. Supernatural wisdom will come, solutions will come to you. And God will be with him in trouble. And God will rescue you and honor you. So the shame that was trying to come your way, it doesn't come, it goes off. Instead, honor comes to you because the Good Shepherd has protected you. 6thly, with long life I will satisfy him. So there's a promise that there won't be any untimely death in your family, even though your family line may have a streak like that. So how do these things that are of past revisit a family? How do you stop it? Here is the remedy. With the promise long life, with long life I will satisfy you and you will see my salvation. Salvation is what God can do for us, that we can't do for ourselves. All we have to say, oh God, I can't do it myself, Good Shepherd, please come into my heart, please come into my life and do it for me. Now, there's a list of things why this comes, this kind of bad things come. A list of things. Reason being, when you are rich and powerful, he did not remember to show loving kindness. He persecuted the afflicted and the needy and the despondent in heart, to put them even to death because of your might and your power. Then a string of events begin to take place. The creditor seizes all that he has. His children wander about and beg. The strangers plunder the product of his labor. There is no one to extend him loving kindness, no one to be gracious to his fatherless children. Why did this happen? Because he did not remember to show loving kindness, but persecuted the afflicted and the needy man. So these are sociological phenomena that happens, but there's a God action waiting to take you out of such a trend. He has a promise that you can do better than that. So in your life, you need to check up what have been your harvest season like, where has your seed fallen. There are 4 kinds of hearts, 4 kinds of soils, 4 kinds of natures and character. First kind is called the roadside, where birds of the air come and all kinds of unhealthy factors access your life and rob the good seed that God had for your life, good opportunities he brought. Because God is no debtor. He brings good opportunities, good seed for everyone's life. But birds of the air is a phenomenon that takes out the good out of your life. And you yourself trample on it. Has that been your nature? Miss those good opportunities. You can say, return those good opportunities to me. Second kind of soil is soft on the surface but tough on the inside. So it says the plant grows, the seed grows, but it can't go inside because of rock immediately beneath the topsoil. Then the venture fails, relationships fail because inside you there's a hardness. Even business ventures need good relationships. You can say, oh Good Shepherd, attend on the rocky side of my heart, make it soft. Thirdly, you have a good soil, but you don't know to be choosy in what you cultivate. You cultivate the good and you cultivate the thorns. So both natures are in you, and the bad nature, bad harvest overcomes. But the promise is, when you have the Good Shepherd and his wisdom, he will bring out of your life 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold, the maximum that was possible. You can say, Good Shepherd, come into my heart and attend on my soil, that every opportunity I have in my life will be run up, not run down. I will be able to achieve the best in my life, and I will be able to pass on a legacy and a succession for my generations to come. Help me, Lord Jesus, help me, Good Shepherd, in this progress for my next generation. You furnish my table even in adversities. You fill my cup and you anoint my head with oil. This is what you can call and say, please help me. He will certainly help me. He will give you wisdom to see where that enemy action is trying to cause a rundown in your family life. So my WhatsApp number is 074-211-5011. Please, I'm Dr. Lalith. This is one of many talks. If you want any more clips like this, please send a WhatsApp to that number. Also, my app is Golden Nuggets. You can download it from Google or from App Store. Thank you for listening. We'll meet again. Please remember, on Saturday 4 p.m. we have a big program at 374 Serpentine Road. You can send a WhatsApp to 074-211-5011 to reserve a place. It's a program for parents whose kids have got digitized and their language is scrambling. They are loose learning focus, addicted to bad kind of music and other things. You can be present physically for that program. Thank you for listening.